You may have heard of the 12 days of Christmas. It is the 7 days of CRL this week. We have action pretty much every single evening of this week leading up to the first open qualifier for the Collegiate Rocket League Fall 2026 season. So welcome to Collegiate Exclusive, where we will be educating you as much as we possibly can leading into this weekend of the CRL fall season kicking off. So welcome back to the podcast. And, TJ, I know you started classes this week. How are your first 2 days of classes?
You would think syllabus week is cool. My reporting to professor begs to differ. So I have been definitely slammed. Also, esports UGA has been very active. We just got fresh off of a officer meeting. So I basically got home from class, right? 2 hours of power rankings, 3 hours of club meetings. I'm ready to talk Rocket League. I'm so gassed for tonight's episode.
Bit of a busy day. Iceborg, have you started classes yet?
I am having the great experience of not taking classes this semester.
We like that.
It's a will from God that I'm able to not do that. And instead, I'm doing basically everything esports. So this week has been nothing but staff training and meetings with all of our players of getting ready for everything. Luckily for all of our teams, most of their leagues don't start till October. So we have NACE is the main league that UNT plays from, and so we have a long time to work. But Rocket League, they don't sleep. Rocket League starting immediately. So we have our A and B team have been doing boot camps, and I'm locked and loaded and ready to go.
Hey, well, at least you don't have classes to worry about. You can focus fully on esports. I know we all got a lot of projects going on this semester. It is going to be a busy one. And I mean, this week is kind of a great way to jump into it. Like yesterday and tonight's, you got the Champ League Open plus the Collegiate Exclusive podcast. Tomorrow, we got Wednesday Night Light show matches. Thursday, we got the GLGC open qualifier. TJ, I know, are you like actively adminning that bracket for Thursday and Saturday?
Don't even oh my god. I am for GLGC and for Future Play, I am supposed to be community streaming, adminning, and seeding. So Wednesday night I will be slaving away seeding all of you. So watch how you talk to me in your Twitter replies.
Yeah, Bluey. Just saying. But hey, busy week. That's Thursday and Saturday. I don't think there's anything Friday. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we get Friday off, which is probably good because the weekend's still going to be busy with qualifiers and then CRL on Sunday. So I know this stream is going to be live. I think it's 6 out of 8 days starting from this previous Sunday. So a lot of live streaming, a lot of content to get through. And so I think a good place to start. We had some roster move updates come in actually in the last couple of hours because last night in the Champ League Open, we saw St. Edwards playing with Wellis, Drov, and Stealth as their trio because apparently Stealth was thinking about going to St. Edwards, but didn't end up transferring. So that is not the St. Edwards roster. This is a live, like, breaking news sort of thing. He is still with Ole Miss and will be playing with Ole Miss in the CRL Open qualifier because Lunar can't make it. So Stealth is not part of St. Edwards. He's still with Ole Miss, which TJ, you found out in Discord or Twitter replies to your power rankings earlier. What a Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, I decided to put my rankings out because I was hoping I was going to get roster information for the schools that I didn't get to rank. And obviously, a lot of you were very quick to comment on how I didn't know the B-Man was rank A, and that's on me. That's why I do preseason rankings so that I know for the future. But yeah, we get a comment from Mr. Adam Baguette, a very storied coach, and is currently grinding in terms of with Foot for the Worlds. And then he just says, yeah, Stealth is actually subbing for Ole Miss. And so we all start scrambling, and come to find out, I guess you can go and represent Ole Miss, not Ole Miss. I guess you can go and represent St. Edwards, even though you're not officially signed on with the school. So that was very, very confusing. But now, from what we have understood, Stealth is officially subbing for Ole Miss and is still actively a student at Ole Miss, which is a very, very weird wake-up call, and it makes that St. Edwards roster look completely different.
They're the third's a GC apparently. So St. Edward's basically not going to be super competitive. So if you're all making preseason power rankings, I'd recommend altering them before posting them, because TJ took the bullet for us here in figuring out that roster move. Are there any other ones that we should update people on? I'm kind of looking through the roster list right now. I can't think of anything.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, cool. We've done a pretty good job then of keeping everything up to date. So I feel like with all of the homework out of the way, getting rosters prepped for the open qualifier this Sunday, we've got to talk about this open qualifier, because we got 155 teams signed up. Everybody, let me switch to the page here in a second. I got to do some production stuff, unfortunately. But I mean, Iceborg, you're doing the UNT stuff. I know you're telling me about the broadcast that you'll be running. I mean, are you looking forward to CRL finally being back? It's going to be a long Sunday.
CRL Sundays, I'm glad it's back on Sunday. First of all, anything being on the weekdays was obnoxious for not only our broadcasts but for our players. And it doesn't matter how strained my voice is at the end of a long day. I love casting CRL and like watching the broadcasts. I love watching the brackets fill out. It's just any upset that happens is elite, and I'm excited for how everything's going.
Registration's closed tomorrow, so we should have final answers on a lot of rosters. But 155 teams, I feel like this is down. I don't know if you've got the numbers off the top of your head, either of you, from previous semesters, but 155 seems pretty light. I feel like we're usually in the 200s.
I can check that right now for you, actually.
Beautiful. Iceborg is live with the research. I should have done this beforehand. This is just a thought that jumped into my head looking at the team numbers.
This is so podcast coded.
So for spring qualifier 1 last semester, there was 209.
Okay. And that was already down from previous semesters. Down.
Qualifier 2 had 182. So.
Okay. Well, you suppose you have to add 8 to that, considering the 8 that qualified for 1. So yeah, still down. I mean, we had our conversations about the format last week, so I guess we don't really have to rehash all of those points. But I am curious, and TJ, I'll start with you. I mean, I feel like power rankings kind of give away who we think is going to make it, but I mean, this is a point that I know you wanted to talk about. Do you have any teams that you think that are in this qualifier that maybe look like they should make it that you don't think they will?
Okay. Oh man, you really want to get me started with the
hot takes? Yeah, let's start with the hot takes.
Okay, so give me a second to refresh myself, because I'm going to pull up the teams that are registered right now. You're saying teams that are currently registered who I think were expected to make it but will not. Yeah,
which I think should be all of like the general top 8, barring Maryville. I don't think Maryville is signed up yet. Still.
Okay. Let me go down real quick here. If I had to throw one out into the world, right? Because for qualifier 1, it is how many teams that are supposed to? It's just 8.
It's
right?
8. Yeah.
Go through. Okay. And so, are you talking about my whole 16 or my top 8?
I'm talking top 8. Like in this qualifier, we've got the majority of the top teams competing in it, despite all of the Europe shenanigans that might be happening with playing on European ping. Do you think we're going to see any crazy shocks? Because I mean, obviously we're going to have maybe one extra team that you may not have expected, like an Indiana Tech or a Cumberland or a Boise get in because Maryville's not competing. But I mean, do you think we see a top team like a Northwood or a Concord or something like that not get in here?
I believe, based on my knowledge, I know that CMOS and Crispy and Resi have been playing with Helix very consistently. I've seen them together on my friends list. I'm not too worried about them, because if they're playing this at this time, at this hour consistently, they might already be in the States for all I know. I don't have confirmation on that. So Concord is safe in my list right now. I would be willing, and this would hurt my heart, because if Royales sees this, I want you to know that this is what I want you guys to qual. But if all 3 of them are not in the States, I think they would be the most likely team out of the top 8 to potentially not make it, because I think Ball State slips in, Baylor slips in, Concord slips in. Maryville is not playing, so I think Northwood slips in, Winthrop slips in, West Virginia slips in, and then if I had to pick the shock and awe to make it through with the way they've been playing this week, I think Boise could even make a run. Cumberland can make a run. I'm absolutely willing to hear that out. So I don't know. I would be so sad if Fisher didn't make it, but based on the pings and the locations, I think they're the team with the most to lose from having players in South America and Europe.
Yeah, I don't know where they're at either right now, but I think you're right with that. I mean, even Northwood with Mata yesterday didn't play with him because his plane was delayed getting into campus, and so Northwood's not completely together quite yet, but should be apparently because Drafinho was playing, and I assume Creams and Drewy are going to be all right. So I think they'll be okay.
Make it before Saturday.
Yes, I mean, I don't know what kind of delays. If he's flying Frontier, then maybe he may not make it before Saturday. But I think he should be there on time. So Northwood, they should be fine. They should be fine. Are there other teams that we should be worried about? Because the rest are kind of all homegrown U.S. talent outside of Indiana Tech. But I know they're all together.
Well, and if we really want to go the extra mile, I don't think Indiana Tech makes it through this first top 8, even with Maryville not playing. Now, if Northwood has to play with Nick again, okay, now we're having a conversation. But I agree. I don't think there's enough teams that are going to be struggling or on enough paying to free open enough room. Unless it is maybe an Indiana Tech versus a Fisher and Royales is on 100 paying, Justice is on 150, Ivan's on 140, 130. Like then I could see it happening for sure, but I don't know.
All right, let me shift the question for you now, Iceborg, because if we can't think of a team that isn't likely to not make it from the top, what's a team? And this actually comes with a bit of some breaking news as well. Apparently, Tiz in chat. I didn't get to watch the end of the Syracuse Boise State series, but apparently, because the Champ League Open playoffs are going on right now, Syracuse just beat Boise, and we saw they were 2-1 up. So it's either a Game 4 or Game 5 win for Syracuse there, who scored a 0-second goal to win Game 1 as well. Pretty hype. But Syracuse just beat a Boise team that I think we were all very high on after their performance last night. So with that in mind, do you see any teams that are maybe around the top 10 right now, not top 8% in your power rankings, but do you see any teams that'll jump up and grab one of those league play spots here in Qual 1?
League play is one of those things where we'll find out. I think it comes down to so many matchups happen every single qualifier just because one team was seeded like 1 or 2 spots too low. Yeah. And because of that, they get a bracket that's perfectly seeded for them. I honestly, I'm very high on Syracuse. I think I have them, tied for the highest with you, Bepic, in my power rankings. I have a lot of hope for this Syracuse squad. They've only looked better and better the past year. It's very interesting because there's some teams that I'm like much lower on in the past couple of years. Like I don't know. I have a vibe. I'm very low on like the St. Clair team. But this semester, I think Syracuse would be a shocker to like get through the first top 8. Yeah. If they got if they got a good enough bracket for them. And they were in like a lower seeded bracket instead of having to play like a West Virginia or a Baylor. They get like a matchup of a Boise or a Fisher. I think they could win that matchup, and I think they could. I think they qualify.
They've always been the team to kind of loudly and proudly make those surprise upsets happen. So honestly, now that they've really beaten Boise, I'm kind of right there with you. But this discussion about the open qualifier, we don't really have as many headlines as I was thinking we would have in kind of talking. So I want to move ahead. I forgot to change the overlay. So their qualifier 1 discussion. Check. Let's move into bold takes because this kind of does encompass the first qualifier, setting the stage for league play as a whole. So I've got a couple categories that are answers to our kind of predictions for the end of the season, and I'm going to start with kind of the big one because whoever wins this semester of CRL is the fall champion. That's a big deal. So I want us before the first qualifier even happens, to drop predictions as to who we think is going to win this entire semester of CRL. So I hope you guys have been thinking, looking into your crystal balls, because we've got some future to predict here. So I mean, Iceborg, do you have a team right off the dome that you think is going to win fall immediately?
I last week I said it, and I'm not going to change my bold prediction. It would be bad of me to switch up on who I think is going to win. I still have full faith that I believe that Northwood is coming back for their crown and is going to win this semester. I think this transfer move is an extremely bold one from the university, and I think it works out. And I think I think unfortunately it only increases the amount of regional transfers that begin to try to pour into the states.
TJ, you got one?
With one of the best duos in the entire league and a player who is 1 or 2 series away from playing in their first Worlds, I think Concord gets another fall of glory. I think Rezi is absolutely the type of player that with another new addition and an unexpected fall, I think that Rezi's going to get the Helix effect and we'll get a open lane without teams getting to adjust very quickly. And I think that I really, really enjoy Crispy's mind as the IGL with Helix and Johnny behind them as well. And if CMOS is on more than 25 past 2, he's easily the best offensive player, or at least best spearhead of an attack, one of the best in the entire nation. And I would even argue further than that in some cases if he really starts playing the game. I think with a full team of pros now, with Crispy heading it up, I think Concord gets their victory in the fall.
Okay, so I'll shoot. Northwood and Concord taken kind of leaves me in a bind because I either have to repeat a name or like go with a Maryville or something, which would be incredibly boring to repeat. So
sneak a West Virginia in there. Who cares? Throw.
That's not a bad shout.
Am I bad if I say that's bad for the sport? In my opinion,
if West Virginia wins,
yes,
really,
I think it's bad for the sport.
Why is that?
I think that of all the North American teams, with the way that West Virginia plays, I would be shocked if they make a top 4 this year.
Oh, top 4.
I'm willing to say that.
Okay,
they
even with
got to change their
Devo.
whole play style. They've got to change their whole play. Devo better change that team, which he can, and he should, and he will, I'm sure. Devo has to change that whole team, and Gyro's got to actually become a threat on the field in higher level lobbies, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think they're quite there yet. I was watching them last night, and in the Champ League Open, they were rotating their roster basically kind of like multiple times in a series. They would sub people in. Like I watched them. I forget who they were playing, but they lost the first 2 games of a series with Matter, Cosmic, and Devo in, and they sub Gyro in for game 3, win 7-0, and I think it was Boise that ended up closing out in game 4 after that. But they were rotating rosters in, and it did feel like Gyro and Devo were locks as players on that team. But I don't know if they know who their starting lineup is quite yet. So they've got a lot of things to figure out at the moment, but you know what? I'm gonna go with Baylor. I think Baylor win this semester. I think with the sort of backing that they have as a D1 program and the expectations that should carry, I think that 3 former, still current pros actually should be able to piece together a championship run. That trio, Andy, Hoxer, Zanil, should be in a championship game in the next year. And so I'm going to go ahead and say that they win this semester, even with Northwood bringing in the 2 Brazilians. Maryville still very much the top of their game. Concord looking solid because I mean we need some All-American representation at the top.
I think if that happened, that would be a net positive for the esport. Like, yes. I see nothing wrong. Like, I think that Northwood will win the whole thing and regional transfers will go crazy? Absolutely. But if Baylor did win, It would be amazing for a D1 university
Yeah.
who's poured nothing but love into this esport to suddenly win a championship. Do you know how much Baylor would like flaunt that? Probably like
That'd be on
their
billboards
program-
in Waco.
Yes, and they
Absolutely.
play the game the right way,
Mhm.
and they've got a very, very long-standing like their whole program model is consistency. I mean, look at Adam Stanley; he's doing it twice at 2 different schools, running a contending program. So, no, I agree. That'd be great for the sport.
I would love that. Like any D1 university, I have love in my heart for them because it's like, okay, we got it. It takes me back to the first seasons of CRL where it was a bunch of D1 and D2 schools just duking it out and going on crazy. Like it gets me. I would love it. I love that prediction.
All right. Well, I'm happy to be a crowd pleaser for this one. Let's keep doing kind of positive predictions here. Most impactful roster move. I'm going to go first because I don't want you guys to steal my most impactful roster move. But you know what? I'm going to go down the list and look at a team that's going to jump way up in the rankings, but isn't, I think, necessarily a championship contending team quite yet. And I'm going to say that Mercy move to LCU. Iceborg, you can't talk about him for another straight podcast episode. I think for LCU, adding Mercy to an already promising beastie-led lineup, I think that's going to move the needle the most out of everyone towards the top of CRL right now, because LCU was stuck in such a rut the last several years of play. I think Mercy will finally be the difference maker, because when I was doing my live power rankings on Sunday, the other CRL top level players, semi-pros, couldn't stop talking about how good Mercy is when I was asking their opinions of him. So I think Mercy is going to be my most impactful roster move. I think LCU is going to be like a middle of the table, pull off an upset here and there against a top 8 team in league play sort of player, sort of team.
I'm mad that you took my thing.
Do you want me to go while you look?
No. I will talk about Mystical and Boise State. I think this new Boise State roster, I think the roster rooms that Boise State has made over this offseason will work out in droves. I think that I have them as my I think they make Qual 1. I think they get in the top 8 Qual 1.
Okay.
And I think it will not be, they will try to push for the top 4. I don't think they make top 4 in league play, but I think they give a lot of scares to the rosters in top 4. Like a lot of trying to push to game 5s, I have a lot of faith in this Boise State roster. Which only can mean that I have to talk about Syracuse infinitely more later.
We'll talk about them plenty, I'm sure.
Northwood has 3-0'd Indiana Tech.
Okay.
I mean, are we surprised?
No, not really. I feel like I think Mata was probably playing in that series.
Surely.
So we need confirmation, but I think Mata was expected to be arriving, so I'm not too shocked by that.
Mata was playing, says Somber.
Confirmed.
Very nice. Very nice.
Okay.
Good for Northwood. I'm glad. That makes me feel better about my rankings of them and all that.
We're about to find out because Syracuse and Northwood play next. So
Ooh.
Surely it won't be a repeat of PCL finals where Syracuse reverse sweeps or something. Surely not.
Surely not. Surely.
All right. Well, speaking of impact, I'm gonna throw in mine now in the meantime while we follow the Champ League tournament as well. I think I like both of yours, but I think those programs have been league play contenders their entire time.
Oh, you're going
I think
deeper.
A school who Yes, I am. I think a school who fell from grace and this singular player could actually put them in league play, it's TMS and Ole Miss by far for me. I have been very high on TMS over the last few weeks, and I really think he's got the potential. I know they're both Italians. I think he's got Arju level potential on the field. And he's got an elite cast of friends. What I've seen from his teams, his experience in Europe, he's got an elite crew that that he plays with and seems to be with. I think Lunar is very much, especially in-game trash talk and in-game performance, one of the very few players who does both top 5 or top 10 potentially on a good day. Hear me out, right? I think if Lunar on his best day could be one of the best players in any lobby in CRL League play. It's just a matter, as long as Barris plays like a rank A consistent force and consistent pillar, TMS is the most impactful roster move, and he will get them into league play.
I like it. And worth noting, I forget if we mentioned this when we were talking about the stealth stuff, but he's playing in Open Qual 1 for Lunar. So Ole Miss, maybe not at full strength for the first qualifier, but I'm with you. I think that could be a team that really jumps up. I thought you would go Shawnee State, talking about a team that like fell from grace and could potentially be a league play contender, because that indicator move, like kind of an honorable mention pick, I think.
I don't know if I'm there yet. I want to root for Slayer and Taco Stash, but because they've been playing for so long, I have to see more from them as individuals before I think of them as league play players. I haven't gotten there yet.
I think they could be close.
I want to hear a bold take.
Do what?
I want to hear a bold take. I don't think Ole Miss makes league play.
I don't think that's a bold take. I think a lot of people are going to say Ole Miss doesn't make league play.
I think, but I don't think I think my bold prediction, I don't think they're going to be in a single qualifier game at all.
Okay, not even close.
That right there, I like that. I don't think they're good.
I don't think a single time in any qualifier they are going to be in a game where if they win, they make league play. I don't think they get to that round.
Playing with stealth as well, and their seeding could be screwed for qual 2. I don't think I could see it. I'm hearing it out. That's a good take.
Like, I love the Ole Miss roster. I think the roster move is great. I think they're one semester early on thinking about even getting.
Takes time.
That's
okay,
fair.
I like it. Iceborg with the juicy take here. But we'll have more time for hot takes. I want to get all of our bold predictions out, because I want to talk underdog runs, because we kind of had we were talking about now teams that could jump from maybe the low side of the top 32 into league play. But I want to talk about the teams like your Daytona States and your WCTCs and your Edgewoods of semesters past that came out of nowhere, that are going to surprise a lot of people, maybe jump into the top 25, maybe be in a qual match where maybe they get put down by like a Boise or a Syracuse or a team of that nature. So do you guys have anyone off the top of your head, or do you need a second to kind of think about who the TJ? Yes, TJ in the back of the classroom.
I have to go first because I'm claiming this team is my dark horse, and I said it on Twitter, and I'll say it to the rooftops now. This Drummondville roster looks so scary, and the reason why I say that, all right, first off, let's talk about the players, right? Snowf, Nibra, Pyrex. Those are, in my opinion, you have a player like Nibra who's been rank A or higher his whole career, it feels like, and has been at that level for years, has been in the competitive scene for years. Pyrex is somebody who has made the climb more recently, and Snowf as well has been somebody who has made the climb more recently. Not to mention that, but also with them, and I was talking with y'all about this not that long ago today. We talked about in the LCQ, made it to group stage, made it top 28, went 1-3. In the Swiss, and these are players with strong individual performances. They played on multiple different teams in multiple different NA Opens and did well. I think this team is adjustable. I think they're one strong IGL or one strong coach away from upsetting, for potentially making it somewhere into top 16, for topping maybe the Opens, maybe being a threat in the LCQ. I think all of that and then some is the ceiling for them, and really the sky's the limit. So that's my pick, Drummondville all the way.
I like it. The LCQ is really good research. I didn't know they were still at that sort of level. I mean, I thought Nibra and Snow, for as long as they've been playing in the bubble scene, were maybe a little washed. But I respect the RLCS research, and they came onto my radar thanks to chats on Sunday. I didn't even know they were a team. But yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna pronounce their full school name if we go that route. Drummondville is the only pronounceable word in their school name, so I'm just warning all of you right now. Don't try it. But I want to toss mine down real quick. We've already kind of talked about them, and Food's just joined chat as well. But this Olivet team, not getting a lot of respect so far. I was eyeing them potential top 32 team. I just left them out as a spoiler. But Fuj, Hezi, and Sialu, I think this team has a lot of potential. I've heard Sialu's actually a really good ones player, ones grinder, and I think that has a lot of value if implemented right into the team. And Fuji and Hezi have been doing this a long while, so I think Olivet's going to be a team that people say, well, what's an Olivet in one of these qualifiers when they make a run, once they get some reps in as a team. So that's my underdog.
All right. I am very interested to see how there's a lot of B teams in our lower half of our top 32. And the one that I have low, but I'm really high, I'm wanting to see how they do, is I'm really interested to see how this LCU white team plays. They're an intriguing secondary team to me because 2 out of their 3 players were on the A team in like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be the main roster. They used to be competing in not CRL, but like all the other major tournaments. They used to run Texas basically. Any of the Texas qualifiers, LCU was basically the shoe in to get out of there. So I am very interested to see how this LCU white team plays. I believe it's the Near Serum and Snapalicious roster. But Snapalicious, my lovely high school go, love that guy to death. I want to see how they can fare. I want to see if this can be an upset roster in the lower half. I want to see if this can be a soon to be not like a team that's fighting for league play, but a team that's like knocking down the lower teams, even trying to get close to league play, becoming a gatekeeper roster in the future.
LCU's good at that. I mean, that's 2/3 of the roster that was pretty much a gatekeeper team for a while. So I mean, I don't know if that's a crazy prediction, Iceborg. I think that's like kind of expected from this team, in my opinion.
Well, we all have them below 30, so I was just like, we have them low. I want to see how they do.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, they could come out of nowhere in a qualifier and pop off. People are like, oh, I didn't know these guys were still actually playing the game. I think that's where you're going to get your unexpected question marks from. So I'll let you have it. But that's all the predictions I wanted to do. I wanted to get something down that we can look back on. Maybe come late October. No, it'd be November actually, with CRL ending late October, and can be like, all right, we got this right. Way off base with this, and look back on ourselves, see how well we did. But what do we got next? Champ League Open. You guys keeping an eye on things? Do we have any updates on what's going down over there?
Let's see. I have it right over here.
I was about to say, Iceborg's going to have to help us out here. I do not have it.
I got all the tabs open. Right now, there's no streams happening. The streams are the secondary semifinals and the final. Right now, we're still waiting on the results of Concord and Cumberland. Nothing's come out. Right now, the only results of the Day 2 is Syracuse upsetting Boise, Indiana Tech getting swept by Northwood, and Winthrop getting swept by West Virginia.
Okay. I mean, nothing too crazy. Winthrop being swept, maybe a little concerning.
I will say, when you were talking about West Virginia, DJ, and then I turned my head over to the start page, and I see them swept Winthrop, I went, oh, okay, interesting.
This is so Winthrop coded.
Yeah, starting lineup
they
too.
Just, you can never tell if they care or not. And I wish I would have watched that game live, because a really good win for West Virginia. Don't get me wrong, but like, this is like such a Winthrop result. Like they murder everybody, they get to a top 8, and then they just disappear.
Thank you, Albedo.
That Winthrop series was apparently played last night. That's right. That's right. They did one quarterfinal last night on Taco Stream, because I think T. Corral had work at like 6 a.m. So they wanted to just like get it out of the way. Didn't want him to have a potential super late night tonight or something. I don't remember, but they played that yesterday. So West Virginia, I guess, pulled that together and beat Winthrop. But let's look at how we got here. Go pool by pool real fast. This was the Boise State breakout pool. I did a lot of coverage of this group. This was the series West Virginia were kind of they dug themselves a hole by changing their roster out and then putting Gyro in and got started too late. Boise State looked too good to let them back in it, essentially. Plus, Bruton Parker almost went 2-1 up over West Virginia in this series too. So I think for WVU, their pool play results can kind of be accredited to them not knowing who their starting lineup is. I think that's necessary context for you guys. I know you weren't kind of as tuned in as I was to this tournament yesterday. We all got busy schedules. But I think the big storylines from this pool, Boise State making a run, and Kaiser down here, TJ, making a bit of a run, beating York, beating Bruton Parker, and taking a game off of Akron. I think those guys are making a name for themselves early.
Well, and it helps. I mean, also I learned behind the scenes that Matt is coaching as well.
Yeah.
So you get the Matt K-Frost Turbo trio that has seemingly been really a common dark horse in both RLCS brackets with Turbo and Matt sticking together, the coach-player duo there. And then also K-Frost has been almost a hidden staple of CRL and even of some lands over the past few years as well. Had a great stint at all the schools he's played at, had some great runs, and now I would argue this might even be his best team he's ever been on in CRL. And but the way they're playing right now, especially taking down teams who have been very consistent, like a Bruton Parker, and I'll even argue about York too. I got a lot of flack online for my York take.
Yeah, same.
And I would say, and if York is losing games like this to Kaiser, I'm not hearing out any debates. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a Bosco fan. Bosco's a great guy. I love him to death. But York had the exact same issue last year. They were expected on paper to be a consistent top 32 team. They would lose some ridiculous games, which in my opinion, Kaiser is somebody who's fighting to stay in the top 32, who's fighting to stay in the top 30 maybe right now. Now, wins like Bruton Parker and York, that'll give you that boost. So I'm really happy for Kaiser.
And just for live comps as well, right now is LinkedIn chat. Shout out the end of you. Concord and Cumberland are in game 5 right now. So if you want to go check that out while you're listening to the podcast, I definitely recommend. But Iceborg, I mean, do you have any strong opinions on this group? I don't think there's anything too crazy to come out of this one other than Boise State looking as good as they did.
I don't have any strong opinions. I think Kaiser sweeping Bruton Parker is a great result. That's probably,
yeah.
And also, I think like just kind of a small little thing is the first taste of this Ball State Black team. Bruton Parker taking down Ball State Black and Akron Blue taking them down in game 3. It's just kind of like I have a lot of high hopes for that roster, and I don't think they have them in my top 32 at all, and I think I feel a little validated by that from this result, in my opinion.
They need time. I think Ball State Black, because they have so many young players and it's such a fresh team, despite how good this team can be and how we know that they can be good, they're going to take time to develop. And I think that's all there is to their performance so far. I don't think they're going to be close to making league play, but I think in the opens, they're going to be a team that like Open 2, Open 3 are going to start going a little crazy and showing signs of what they can be. But moving along here, I mean, Concord, this kind of sets the stage for the Concord Cumberland match going on right now, because Concord was playing with their full lineup here, unlike some teams in this tournament. It's CMOS, Crispy, and Rezi right now. They were 2-0 up in game 5 in the quarterfinals and didn't have much issue with the short-staffed Northwood, and Wichita State was actually playing pretty well last night. I mean, TJ, this is kind of what we're expecting from Concord.
Well, also, I hate to be reactionary while we're taking a very serious podcast, but Crispy almost just went reset off the ceiling over 2 to score a third goal. They're up 2-0 against Cumberland right now.
I'm trying not to.
CMOS! They're up 3-0.
Yeah, I was trying not to yell because there was some crazy. This series has been really close, and then out of nowhere, this game 5, Cumberland's really let it get away from them. I think all 3 goals have been Cumberland mistakes, leaving their net wide open.
Yeah, I'm going to add something in as well. I actually will make an analytical point about that Northwood series, even though, and this is more of a prediction, I guess, even though, as Rezi scores to make it 4-0, even though Mata did not play, I think play style wise, with how Concord has always played, and if you talk to Crispy for more than 10 seconds, you'll realize this. They play a smarter game of Rocket League. They play a very low mistake game of Rocket League. They are very much capable and quick to point out other teams' flaws and mistakes, and will not only push through those gaps and create space in defenses for that, but also they will punish teams very, very quickly. And when you have a team that seemingly knows you better than you know yourself, keep an eye on that Concord Northwood rivalry. I think that could be argued. I think it could absolutely get to that point. And whenever we talk about power rankings, you'll see why I have Concord in that conversation. But, you know, I also had them to be my fall champions on August 18th, 2026 for the same reason. So
they are so European. Like that is how the Europeans play. They pick you apart, not necessarily with their mechs, which Concord have a lot of, but they know where exactly to pinpoint that weakness. And so I would be surprised to see many upsets against Concord unless there are external circumstances, which Concord's never really been immune to. So still could see them take L's here and there. But I mean, in this pool, I'll put it back up on screen. Wichita State played and beat St. Edward's with stealth in this tournament twice. Wichita State actually looked, I think, pretty good yesterday. Kept it close with Concord and with Northwood as well. Just couldn't get the W's there. I think Wichita State they're trying to keep the respect that they might have earned with their league play berth last semester. So I'm kind of still a Wichita State believer, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I have a full faith in Boone. Apparently all 6 of their games versus Northwood and Concord were 1 goal.
Oh wow.
So they just don't have the ice, apparently. As they said,
hold
as
on
they said
now.
in chat.
This is like, with all due respect to Wichita State, and Boone's not gonna like where this is going. Like Wichita State, they have always been right there. They have always been 1 goal away. Like there's no question about their talent or their ability to contend with these teams. Like them making league play is not a hot take; it's expected. And I talked with Boone about this on Twitter as well. Like. That's not the issue. It is that late game. It is them finding the consistency at the very end of games, especially on defense, to survive a team's attack or to find counterattacks more consistently of their own. Like now, granted, this is a miserable bracket pool getting Concord and Northwood. Like absolutely miserable bracket pool. But the fact that they did not get a game is still why that's a team that for me personally is somewhere that's at 14, 15, 16, 17 rather than in an Indiana Tech situation where you've got a few good upsets, you've shown you can win series, and for me they're somewhere in my top 12. So I just want to, you know, like don't get me wrong, they are good and they are close, and that's definitely a fair reason for Boone to include, but like this has been the Wichita story, I feel like.
Yeah, that does some Wichita State. You know, they've got some expectations, but not always fulfilling it. And they've got a whole season to maybe live up to the hype. And for CRL, I think Knight's locked in. So I'm with you. I think that is the expectation that they qualify for league play. But let's talk this group. Syracuse pulled off that upset against Boise, and they just know how to play against their PEC opponents. It seems like they're farming PEC schools in the Champ League Open right now, beating Michigan State to qualify 3-0, and then beating Boise in quarters. But Daytona State, 5 seed beat Michigan State here the first time around. And then, unfortunately, Gio, I think his internet went out against WCTC, so they couldn't put it together with the substitute in down below. Context there, but hey, Daytona State getting a win over Michigan State, not too shabby.
A great win, great showing from them. Sorry, I didn't know if you were going to say something. No, you're
fine. I don't have any of the cameras up, so I couldn't see it.
I was going to keep mine brief
right now.
Anyways. I'm keeping it brief, and then you take it away. This right here, this little WCTC, Daytona State, Michigan State, this right here is peak CRL, because any of these teams could be as high as top 20, top 23, top 25, or as low as top 30. And they've got to find their place in here. So for Michigan State, I'm glad for them that they got on top, especially with the roster move bringing in Mafinho. But also, there is an asterisk because Daytona State had internet issues in that losers game. That's all I'm going to add.
What were you going to say, Iceborg?
I think Michigan State, like I'm just gonna say I think this is a weird result for them. I think this is a really bad pool look for Michigan State. I think not getting a game on Syracuse is like I feel like
tough.
I think they could be doing a little better. I think Daytona State is a good school. I think they're a great program. But Michigan State, if you want any hope of like you need better results than this going into CRL, in my opinion, for Michigan State.
Yeah, I don't think they've got any sort of leg to kind of contest where I think a lot of people are going to have them in power rankings, maybe outside the top 20, if they're not putting up a better fight against your Syracuse's early on. So Michigan State's under the TJ. Were they in your what was it, fraud watch? Is that what you put it as in your tweet? I forget what your category was for teams.
Hold on. No, don't frame me yet. Hold on. The exact wording that I use for some of these schools, which actually I will say this first. Michigan State was not in either one of my lists. It's called Fall Off Watch.
Fall Off Watch.
And Michigan State is not on that list for me. They should be, in my opinion, bare minimum 2 series out of the second qualifiers league play. That's the floor for them. They should be
specific.
They should be 2 or 3 series out. And if they are anything less than that, then they either got a miserable bracket or they are pushing the bottom end of the top 25.
Yeah. And Boone's giving context that he doesn't think they had Muffino last night. I don't know much about Muffino, quite honestly. I know Jimmer was saying that they're going to be a 4-man lineup. So is Muffino really that much of a difference maker? Do you guys know how good Michigan State should be? Boone says he's their best player. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was under the opinion, and don't get me wrong, Otbaum's a great player, but like all of those guys, especially Otbaum, who's the closest thing they have to a pro right now, like none of them have long-standing 2s or 3s careers. And from what I understand, Muffino is like Boone said, now the best player on that roster. Somebody who I believe, and Boone can correct me if I'm wrong, I thought Muffino's been rank A for a hot minute now, and I haven't gotten to look at his RLCS accomplishments yet, but yes, with Muffino, they should 100% be a contending school, which is why I say that their floor should be a series or 2 out. That's me considering them with Muffino.
He's been X. Okay. Muffino's
I didn't know that.
A lot better than
Okay.
I thought. Okay. You know what? I'll shelve the Michigan State conversation until Open Qualifier 1. Then we can make our opinions on them based on how they perform when there is pressure and they do have their starting lineup. But last pool, real quick, Indiana Tech ended up winning this one over Cumberland, and I think this was a good battle of teams that are at the bottom side of the top 10, maybe just on the outside of the top 10, depending on your opinions on them. But Indiana Tech getting a W over Cumberland with Kazi as well. I mean, Iceborg, if you want first dibs on this one, go for it, because I think this is a great result for Indiana Tech, who's been hyping themselves up a lot this summer.
I would agree. I also would agree that this is the most straightforward looking pool of all time. I think every seed that was supposed to won their games. I think almost every single higher seed won in this pool. I think it's a really good result for Shawnee State as well. Getting to that qual game. I think sweeping Cumberland is a really good look for Indiana Tech. If this was a game 5, it's like Indiana Tech is still like doing something. I do think I find the game 3 result versus UT Dallas very interesting, and I wish I could find that series so I can go back and watch that, because we always
best of
love
3 madness. I mean, it happens.
You never know. I love the Dallas Metroplex schools. So I was interested to see how that went. But I'm really excited for Indiana Tech this semester. They came out of nowhere last semester, and I want to see if they can continue.
TJ, you got opinions on this one?
I am a little disappointed because, again, if you come for me on Twitter, I'm going to point out your results because I want people to understand my rankings. I am disappointed in Indiana Tech Black because I would argue, and this is going to be one of my hotter takes of the night, right? Like, I have Shawnee State at in the top 25. I have Indiana Tech Black on the top 32. I think that a series like that on paper based on play style alone, Indiana Tech Black, I think, should be going to 5 at the bare minimum. Like or could be winning those games. I would argue that's a team that has to be more aggressive, should be more aggressive. I don't know a lot about Perry and Silk, so if Bluey's in the chat, I apologize. But like, I'm disappointed. That's fair. But I am disappointed solely because of it being a 3-1. I think that team should be a lot higher, but also the reason why I have them towards the end of my top 32 is because of losses like that against a team that I believe is a more dormant, slower playing team. Now, granted, Shawnee's a brick wall, and they've always been a brick wall. That's how Slayer and Taco have always seemed to play. And Taco then will counterattack, flip, reset, full field on your head or something like that. But they've normally been a defense first team. And if you can't get past some of those teams, you're really going to struggle against some of the wild cards. I mean, especially teams like a Kaiser, teams like a Daytona State. I'll even throw Kennesaw in that conversation, who's also a brick wall type of team first. So I was a little disappointed. I was really hoping to see more.
I'll toot my own horn for Shawnee State all I can, Bluey. But I do think that if you want any chance for your roster to feel a lot better, I think you got to beat the Unks of CRL. And Slayer and Taco Stash I feel like they've been in CRL forever. So if you're wanting to like push, I feel like you got to be beating those teams. I don't care if Indicator is the second coming of Zen. You got 2 out of that 3 roster has been playing for longer than I've been alive.
I'll give him time. I rate Shawnee State really highly. So I'm not going to jump on the Indiana Tech B trashing train quite yet. No, but I like the energy that we're coming with this early in the season. I got to keep these players straight from the get-go. And Speed has also given us comms that for the 50K NECC LAN, there's a casino less than 10 minutes from the LAN venue there. So since we're wrapping up the Champ League Open discussions, I'll leave that little tidbit of information for everyone. So it might be a matter of who can lock in the most for that LAN, but we'll have that qualifier to talk about as it comes. When is that first qualifier, TJ?
Next Saturday.
Wait, remind me. So I was laughing at Speed's chat still. Can we talk about which event was it? Sorry.
50K.
The 50K LAN.
Yes, Iceborg beat me to my own event. Yes, it would be next week.
Believe me, I'm on top of everything that UNT is signing up for, and they're getting in there.
Yes, it is next Saturday, and then it's going to be the Saturday after that. So GLGC and the 50K Future Play LAN will have all of our teams confirmed within 4 weeks, which is crazy.
That is insane. I love the funnel that the prize money is going to be going down as it gets distributed to the teams and then lost at the Illinois casino that everyone's going to be going to, apparently. Thanks for that info, Speed. Love the players that keep us informed on the happenings of CRL during the podcast. But it's power rankings time, gentlemen. I want to get into the power rankings because this always takes a while. I don't want to be here for a full 2 hours again tonight. So I'm going to put on the right side of the screen now our top 30 because I can't fit everything into the screen. But we got our top 30 that we're going to start with, and then I'll scroll down on the page. But everyone prepare yourselves. This is our top 30, and there you go. Iceberg, you have to shift over a little bit so you're not fully blocked if you center yourself. But
there we go.
This is what we got, everybody. And I'm kind of impressed with our synchronicity on the top 8 for the most part. Like, same teams, pretty much. Yeah, the order gets shaken up a little bit. But, I mean, Iceborg, you got Northwood as number 1. I don't know if you have to kind of debate this too hard. I think that's a totally reasonable take. TJ and I've got Maryville, I think, just keeping things consistent from the spring. But, you know, differing at number 1, you want to take the first stab at why you think Northwood's number 1? Iceborg?
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was about to start your Iceborg.
I'm sorry, I went blank for a second. I was looking into the sun and also the chat, so we started arguing with each other. I think the roster change is going to do numbers for them. I think this Maryville team. I also think the top 3 is the most interchangeable top 3 of all time this season. I think you could make a case for anything. The case I'll make for Northwood is I think this new roster is just a different type of Rocket League being played. I think South America brings a different type of Rocket League that will do really well. I have full faith. I have faith.
Speed's debating against us having Maryville #1 right now, TJ. I don't know if you see his
I'm watching.
That's why I got distracted. I was
like, every time I've ever been around Speed, it's like an unskippable cutscene, because you never know what he's gonna say, and you never know what they're gonna talk about. All I'm saying is that fingers crossed, I'm supposed to be in person for both GC and the Future Play LAN. I will see you at the casino. All right, now talking about Maryville, right? Yeah. I do not think that it is fair to not have Maryville at 1, because Northwood, and don't get me wrong, Iceborg, the South American playstyle is transformative, but when you're talking about relating wave and the EU consistency versus maybe some of the wildcard atmosphere of a player like Mata, I think that you would take relating wave, which is a crazy take. I know, wild take. I'm hearing myself say it, but for the sake of CRL consistency in big lands, big moments, like I think I'm taking the European playstyle, which is why I think Maryville is a fair one. Also, I think Northwood at the bare minimum being top 2, top 3 is fair. So I don't think I have an issue with the way that our top 3 is at all for any of us. I think it's A-okay.
I don't think top 8's all that controversial. Our top 10, honestly, is not that controversial. That's right fair. Now. Like, we're all kind of on the same page as rankers here, which is a little wild considering this is a preseason ranking. But I think sort of the storylines coming out of Summer Play and now the Champ League Open as well, and roster moves are kind of consistent, which might be a first in CRL. Like going down the line, who is the first team that we disagree on? St. Clair? I mean, you've got them 8th, TJ. Me and Iceborg have them outside the top 10. So I suppose, like, unless you guys want to talk about the same teams we've been rehashing the same conversations about, but like, you're high on St. Clair, TJ. Is it that you think Fobzo is not that big a change from Vesh, or you just trust in Zai and Jazzy, or what's the story?
Both. I think you guys are reacting too quickly, honestly. Like, don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. Like, Vesh, great player. Fobso, also a great player. And that's the glory of the St. Clair program, is that I would argue that they could have pulled up even one of the other players other than Vesh. And I think they could have had a very similar result this past year. And again, Vesh is incredible. I think Fobso is right there with him. And so don't get me wrong. Will they take a step back this year? Right. But the way that I view them is they could still beat a Winthrop. They could still beat a Baylor. Now, do they beat a Maryville, Concord, Northwood? That's a different conversation. But I'm not jumping ship yet. Like, I would still never put them below a Boise and Indiana Tech, something like that. I'm not ready for that yet.
The way I see it is that everyone else in that top, honestly, 14 range, if you're looking at my list with LCU being at 14, everyone in that range either made a serious improvement to their roster, I think, or stayed at a level that was already better than what I think St. Clair's at. That's why I've got them low, because I think of all the teams in the top 15, barring my Akron, because you guys also have Akron top 15. Like, those two have the most questions asked them right now, because Fobzo has to fill in some decent shoes. I mean, Vesh was good for that team last year. You got to be serviceable with Jazzy and Zai. And so I'm starting low on St. Clair and building up from there. And honestly, same for Akron without 5-up. And that's why those guys are so low despite having decent springs.
I'm willing to hear out either. I agree. Like, the shoes are huge, and St. Clair's standard is to the moon. So I'm willing to see either, but I'd be shocked if they weren't contending in the top 10 safely. And that's, I think that's somewhere we could agree on them safely contending in the top 12 or top 11. I think we could come to a happy middle ground somewhere in there, surely.
Well, as someone who has them at 14, I don't know if I can be happy medium that. Like I was
not even like a top 12. You can't happy medium there.
I have them 14 right now. I was actually debating whether or not to put LCU over them.
What? No. LCU over St. Clair right now.
I think LCU could do it. I think this new LCU roster could do it.
Oh, the Texas blood. Oh man. Oh, I can't get no, like that's the first take that I've ever heard you say that I just absolutely cannot hear out. Oh man, I can't see that. Unless Fobso like turns into like Fobso's got to turn into
goes to UNT, A&M hat rooting for LCU. Yeah, who cares what I say anymore? I'm just all Texas.
Fobso's got to turn into a brick for that to happen. I can't see it. He's been playing for too long. Like I think he's gonna be a lot more of a pillar for that team than we're thinking.
Yeah, I'm not with you there, Iceborg. Sorry. I think everyone else that I've got above St. Clair like made a change that I think raises their ceiling enough to where I feel comfortable putting them above St. Clair. Like Kazi carries that sort of respect. Mystical now, especially that I've watched him, carries that kind of respect. Alex, same deal with his RLCS results, and everybody else was kind of already in that conversation above St. Clair. I don't know about LCU, man. You're on your own until we're proven otherwise.
Thank you, Speed.
Yeah, Speed with the most serious take of the night. Just making fun of poor Zai. Yeah, he's got a good point. I can't even repeat what he said for our audio listeners all the way through. He's just trolling. Anyway, I think we can move teams. I think we're going to spend way too long on St. Clair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also preseason is the most. We're going to be the most reactionary and most predicting of any power ranking. This one is going to be the most weird.
Yeah,
I think after Qual 1 we're going to be like very, other than the fact that Maryville's not playing, we'll see. We're going to be the most, we know how the rosters play now. Probably like by Monday morning our power rankings will look completely different or look incredibly the same.
Yeah, also, I was about to say, while we're talking about Maryville, like, can we ask Speed and Shuffle when they're going to sign up? Like, are they going to play in Qual 2?
Oh yeah, that's actually a great idea. I got distracted by the
idea possible.
We're just watching Speed troll. We haven't even thought about asking him a real question.
Yeah, why aren't you guys playing Qual 1? What's up with that?
What was
Okay, they're playing Qual 2. They're playing Qual 2.
Okay, I haven't had chat up this entire podcast. I'm sorry to everyone that enjoys having chat up on the screen.
They're playing Qual 2.
They are playing Qual 2.
Shuffle gets their 1st of September. Okay.
But why aren't you playing Qual 1? We do need to sort that out while you guys are here.
Shuffle's not in the States, so I guess maybe they don't want to play with the ping speed, maybe? Got
FIFA.
Shuffle with the FIFA E event. That makes perfect sense. Fair play.
Speed acting like he's never heard this in his life.
Wait a minute, but why can't the team play?
That's a great question.
If Shuffle's with the FIFA E event, why can't the team still play?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Maryville just being confident that they can do it in one qual, which I honestly don't blame them.
That's Clerky and speed coded to the max.
Okay, they haven't flown out yet. That's why. Okay, so it's just the dates of the first qual.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair, boys. I mean, I figured more teams would be in that boat, honestly, for Qual 1. So I'm kind of surprised it's just Maryville. So honestly, it's kind of turning into a nothing burger of drama that popped up when the CR announcement happened. Not many teams are actually being affected by that. So yeah, fair enough.
What this means is that whoever this could add a weird thing. Someone could make an upset run because of Maryville not playing. One team not playing can always mean that the seeding is all out of whack, and one team gets a really good pool. We could see someone in the 10 to 15 range on our power rankings.
And I'll say something as well. I mean, I'm gonna be very frank because we talked about this on the podcast a lot last year. The seeding has been a little questionable early in the season in these qualifiers.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we all know people who are on that committee, and they are very smart people, and their rankings are good. I think there's a few bad apples. I think there's a few spoiled eggs, or spoiled, whatever the heck you want to, whatever analogy you want to use. There's definitely some people who make the things a little interesting. So, we could totally see a qual match where all of a sudden you got a team like Cumberland who's got to play Baylor to qual, which actually that's not a crazy statement. I guess more so.
Yeah, that was
maybe like a St. Clair, maybe like a St. Clair Ball State qual matchup. Maybe that's something that'd be a little crazy.
And a qual one, yeah, I think that would be a fun series either way.
It could get messy. It could get messy.
It helps that the one team missing from the top is the number one seed. Like they would be the number one seed. So
yes,
the seeding's not going to be thrown out of whack, anything crazy. And it's not like they signed up and are going to forfeit, which could toss the bracket into a little bit of chaos. So I don't think it'll be too crazy a deal. But if they slip up in qual 2, then maybe we're talking about something there. But that's for 2 weeks from now. But looking down the rankings as well, Iceborg, you got Wichita State top 16. So you think they're a league play team for sure?
I will say my 15 to 17 is very movable.
Okay.
I the only reason why I have Wichita at 16, Ole Miss at 17 is I think Ole Miss is still a semester away, as I talked about earlier. I think Wichita State has been looking great. I just need Boone to keep playing the incredible level that he is, and I think they can go on another run. They looked great in qualifiers last semester, so it's just about being consistent. If you're losing all these 1-goal games, Wichita State, if you're losing all these 1-goal games, please just win 1 or 2, and you'll go crazy.
I think all of the 3 teams that we share in that pool, talking about teams like LCU, Syracuse, Akron, Wichita State, I think those are all fair arguments. I'm not willing to hear out St. Edwards with that because of the roster move. I'm not willing to hear out Davenport. I'm not willing to hear out Cumberland. That's the maroon roster that you mean,
I was
right?
surprised Cumberland B was so high.
I do want to talk about
what you had to say.
I want to talk about that roster. I want to talk about this.
That's real high.
Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry. I think this was not affected much by the Champ League Open last night. I still think this team, given that it's 2/3 of a starting Cumberland lineup in CRL league play the last several semesters, and AUG, who I'm excited to see actually have top of the top level competition. I think this team needs some time, and this being a preseason ranking, I'm factoring in a little bit of what I think their ceiling can be. Instead of how they look necessarily right now, since we just have the Champ League Open to go off of. So I rate this team really well, but I think they are going to take time to fill in with each other well. Because Hotshot and Nex, I don't know how much they've played actually, because they weren't on starting lineups together. And then AUG, it's going to take time for him to adjust, I think, because this is a complete different system. He's going from South Carolina, where the expectations were nil. Well, as long as he was playing there, unless they were in the SEL or something, and Katz was really pumping the team up. But now he's playing at the top of CRL, where there are actually expectations. And I'm sure he's excited to compete and play for money, but this is a totally different system now, because South Carolina is a club team and Cumberland is as far away from a club team as you get. I think that's going to take time for him to kind of adjust to. So I think they start off slow, but I think this team is absolutely a squad that could sneak into league play.
Hold on now, because Iceborg, I think you're forgetting how competitive AUG has been still.
Oh, I've played against AUG. UNT has played AUG all the time. But
hold on now.
I have full faith that AUG can do great things. I was just shocked at fighting for league play. I think they can get close. I think they're a game away from the qual game roster. Yeah. I don't think they'll be close to get. I don't think
even in qual 2
any qual game. I think qual 2, you could say if they get a good bracket. If they get a good bracket, qual 2.
Oh, I don't know.
If they get a good bracket, qual 2.
If Nex has been playing the game again, Og is fresh off of one of his best placements of his career, which is a top 16 in the North American LCQ. That's easily one of his best placements ever as a player individually. I think that there's and Hotshot's been, he's been one of the hottest names on the block since this past semester. So if Nex has been playing the game and can get back to where he was when he first came to Cumberland, then I'm with Bepic for the second qual. I think regardless of bracket, they could go to qual match. First qual though, yeah, again, it's hard for me to hop on the train because again, I agree. I think Og having to adjust, especially with you bring Nex in. He was the offensive spearhead. You brought Hotshot in to do exactly what Nex did at a slightly different level.
Both X factors.
Yeah, and both spearheads. So, and Og has been a very defensive player because ever since playing at USC, he had to be, right? So they can merge. I'm not concerned about Og on this roster. I'm actually concerned about Nex and Hotshot gelling on this roster. That's my take on it.
All right.
I think it probably comes down to how Hotshot wants to play in this team. Because I think Nex has been very clear about how he prefers to play the game. Maybe that's why he didn't necessarily wasn't dynamic enough for the A team previously. And that's why Hotshot maybe stepped in. This is me speculating, obviously, but I'm kind of with you, TJ. I think this roster does depend a lot on Hotshot and Nex. Because Og is a pretty known quantity, and I'm sure he'll adjust with time, but there are a lot of question marks on this team. So I guess this is my hot take, which I don't think even is a really crazy hot take to have them at potentially 17 just outside of league play. But I'll take it if we're offering that as a hot take.
Like I have them in my top 25, but I'm not putting them inside the top 20. I'm not putting I want to see how this team plays.
That's fair.
Fully.
Yeah, and also I could totally hear an argument like whenever I got down to my top 20 to top 30 range, I was thinking a lot about okay, when these teams see each other in a winners quarterfinal in a CRL qual, when they get to a losers round 4, losers round 5, or I guess it'd be 4 pools. So if a losers round 3, losers round 4, right? Then I start to think, how would they interface? And that's why I gave teams like Michigan State and Davenport the edge, and OC as well. But now I've learned that OC and St. Edwards aren't going to be playing. Yep. So, yeah, I'm starting to hear out the argument because Cumberland would move up the top 20 for me, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that take coming out of today.
And do we know, this is a question for Chad actually, who Davenport was playing with in the Champ League Open yesterday? Did anyone here actually play them? I know they were debating between Para and Exiled for that third spot alongside Brock and Bolte, but they disappointed a little bit just given what we expect from Davenport with their results, which it's one tournament. They're still figuring out the starting lineup, but I think Davenport's still a team to keep an eye on. We talked about them last episode, so I'm not really going to stick on Davenport. But Fooch says it was Para Exiled Brock as their starting roster for this one. So let me know Bolte for the tournament. I don't think that's their starting lineup. I think Bolte's still starting, but that might explain their results.
Can I throw a mini hot take in?
Yes.
Can I kick it?
Yes.
I don't think any of those 3 players outside of Brock, I don't think anything changes much depending on who you sub in. I think regardless, that roster, I will be honest, I actually think I'm probably a little high on them at 20. I think that maybe you make an argument to drop them, but again, because of how they did last year, I didn't want to drop them too far. I think that depending on how they show out, they could lose to a team they shouldn't, like a Cumberland Maroon, like a Shawnee State. If Shawnee State is playing the way that everybody in chat is talking, and Indicator does what Indicator seems to do, they could absolutely take down Davenport. Shoot, I might even get as crazy, if I'm feeling some type of way on qualifier day, I might even go down to say that Daytona State could make things interesting with them.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a crazy argument. So Davenport, my issue for them is that their ceiling is not on paper and based off the last school year, their ceiling is not ultra high. I got to see this roster play. I believe it was Para, Bolte, Exiled who played at CECC. They had some strong showings, but unfortunately for them, I think this semester is going to be a lot more about how far do they drop than it is about making league play. And I'm going to leave it at that for me.
All right, I like the commentary on Davenport, and I do want to see where they go. Before dropping them too crazily, I think around 20 right now is a safe spot for them, like right around the conversation, but not exactly a team that is bad yet. But I'm a little worried about them. But I'm gonna leave that alone for now, I think. Any other teams we want to jump on? Because Drummondville, you got in 24th, TJ, but you were already hyping them up earlier on in the broadcast. Daytona State, actually worth noting, Sullus is going to be playing on a laptop, and I don't know what his internet situation's like for the qualifiers for CRL. So they'll be playing, but Sullus is on a laptop. So
Sully's play style favors laptop gaming. Like let's be like, he is not Geo. Geo cannot play on a laptop.
Oh, not a laptop. Sorry. It's a normal computer, but it's his sister's computer. Sorry, Celis. I misinterpreted what you were telling me. So he's in a different setup.
Mr. Computer Gamer.
Yeah, I think that favors Sullus. Like Sullus could hop on a dang Dell Inspiron at 144 hertz and just hit the ball, and that's okay. And that's all that I need Sullus to do. And then Daytona State's fine. I don't think they're gonna be hurting too much in Qual 1 with that. Now, granted, I will say this: I had a very hard time ranking Daytona State because I personally believe that with all of the new CRL roster moves, they look lower than what I was expecting them to be. I think after their performances in the back half of last school year, I thought for sure they'd be contending for top 20. But with the way these rosters have changed and with all these new players coming in, with players like Mercy with LCU, like TMS and Barris, like Og with Cumberland Maroon, and Cumberland Maroon just becoming a team, right? I think Daytona State, with the way that they've been playing, are they gonna become the new Bruton Parker? Perhaps could they be gatekeepers? Is that where that's where I almost feel like they're gonna end up. I feel like they're gonna be gatekeepers.
I kind of agree with you. I see no reason why it feels like everyone else has upgraded, and I don't
think they're going to be a team that is stuck like Bruton Parker is. I think they actually have a ceiling that can be in a qual match and pop off for a run or an open, and especially on land. Like these guys are land threats no matter what. They're really good on land, but I don't think they're stuck like Bruton Parker. I think they'll probably be in the same ranking as Bruton Parker for a large majority of the season, but I don't think they're stuck like Bruton Parker is, because Bruton Parker have been gatekeepers for the last 3 years in the top 20 range. They've been stuck there. They haven't moved a muscle. But Daytona State is just now getting there. And I feel like we have to give them some leeway to change the narrative and actually build up past top 20 if they are capable of it.
I agree with that 100%. They're definitely not the same type of gatekeepers. They easily could, like I said, they could beat a Davenport. They could beat an OC, even though OC's not playing, it seems. I could see it. So I agree. I like that take.
All right, who else we got?
A small update.
What's the update?
Champ League update. West Virginia Concord are playing right now. It's 1-1 in series, 1-1 in game 3, and reporting Gyro is hitting shots. So
that's propaganda. That's just propaganda.
I'm sorry. As someone who in his entire career feels like Gyro cannot hit the broadside of a barn, he is hitting shots in this series right now. That's all I care about. And also, Devo had 9 saves in game number 1, and they lost in overtime. I gotta say, if Devo doesn't have to make 9 saves and Gyro is hitting shots like he's supposed to, I will give all the Gyro strays in the world. He's a former pro and should be playing better. There we go. Devo shot on target. There, goal again. West Virginia up in game 3.
All right, it's time to steer the narrative.
Let's steer it.
I am curious about one school quickly, and then a school I actually want to talk about. Who is the Columbia roster? Because they're in your top 30, and I don't know who their third is.
Yeah, I don't know who the third is either. I give Columbia enough respect to think that they're going to find a third that still puts them in the top 32, but I don't know who their third is. And that's honestly why they're so low for me. The Rhyolite Gusky duo feels like it should be a lot higher, but too many question marks around them right now, and that's why they're low. But I'm still putting them in there because I assume they're going to find a good third. And until it's confirmed, like with ETSU, like with who's the one we were just talking, St. Edwards, I'm going to keep them top 32 for now because I think they'll still be relevant.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, I've got a roster.
I believe I have them in my honorable mentions, but I did not want to put them in my top 30 because I had zero idea.
That's fair.
The third place.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, I have a roster that I actually want to talk about then, because I got a lot of Twitter flack about the and DM flag. I actually got a decent amount of DM flack about this.
Oh God.
Let's talk about Akron Gold. I actually have more faith in this Akron Gold roster, and then I get in DMs with some of the players in the league, and people act like that Akron Gold is gonna fall off into like the mid 30s.
Same thing happened to me on stream.
I want to talk about that roster. Yeah.
This was a team that I was debating putting top 32, like 30, 31, 32 for the record. I think Oxy and Gnosis are too volatile a duo to rate highly right now. They got to prove it first. But the Twitch chat when I was doing my rankings are Akron Gold haters, and so they convinced me to pull them out of the top 32 until proven otherwise. Still very much like right around that area. Also the honorable mentions, not ordered by the way. Just I think TJ is actually I shifted around to have,
mine is not ordered.
Yeah,
mine is definitely not ordered.
I shifted it around. Initially it was ordered, but I shifted it so that like all of us had Olivet in the honorable mentions, so I'm putting them in the same row. Same with Leslie.
Oliver in honorable mentions.
Yeah, I do. Well, we saw based on the Collegiate exclusive podcast tweet that I don't spell player names correctly all the time. Got a lot of replies for that. So let me go ahead.
Yes, shout out TMS for correcting you by literally just asking that his name was lowercase instead of capitalized. But that was probably one of my favorite responses I've seen to a tweet of all time. Okay, but I have more teams I want to talk about. But Iceborg, I want to hear you talk about Akron Gold if you want to, real quick.
I'm kind of in the same. I don't think they're gonna fall off that hard. I was surprised by the I don't tweet my result. I don't tweet any of my power rankings on Twitter because the last thing I want is for people to notice that I exist. So when I saw the flack for y'all, I was very surprised. I think Akron as a program, A and B team, are just gonna continue to play very solid roles. I think you can't replace the old Akron Gold team. I think that team was a very strange, always fighting to make league play team that was upsetting all the time. I think this was going to be a solid, trying to make qual 2 qual games type game, like team trying to fight for that. I don't see anything other than that. So
they've got a big peak. Like Oxy and Gnosis both, when Gnosis was playing for Cumberland Academy, are both players that can take over a lobby and dominate for a game. But then what made Akron Gold so good was that Oxy would give them a game in the series, and then he would kind of disappear for a few more games. But Jonathan and Emilio, and then Jonathan and Patty were so solid a duo. They could make up for that, and they could find ways to work around that. But Akron Gold don't have a safety net anymore of Jonathan being one of the most steady players, steady captains in CRL. This is a roster that is going to have to figure things out by being thrown in the deep end. And I just got too many question marks for me right now, honestly. I Twitch chat put it on my radar that they may not be a top 32 team. And honestly, I'm convinced of it right now until proven otherwise.
That's fair. I'm willing to shift to another team if y'all want to.
Hey, who else we got?
Who do you want to talk about?
I was going to throw in the conversation about let me actually double check before I speak. I did catch a lot of flack for my York pick, but we already talked about that, so I don't feel as bad about that. I think for Vet City, for Olivet, I think that this is a perfect spot for them. I actually had a very nice, constructive conversation with Fuge and DMs. Big respect, Fuge. If you're in here, big respect to you, by the way, for the way that you want to talk about the game. I really love that. I told him the same thing I'm going to say right here. And I think that of all of the rosters that are in my honorable mentions, they have one of the highest ceilings. And I feel very confident in saying that. These are players who I think have been underrated for 100% of their careers. have not been viewed as consistent top contenders. And the fact that they've played a lot together this summer in RLCS events, and now they get to get a head start in Qual 1, they can hit the ground running. They can grab some early upsets. I am more worried about their long-term performance than I am about their startup performance in Qual 1.
They're another team that I'm excited to watch, because I think Fuge, when at Siena Heights, led that team alongside who was it? 11, I think, was on that roster. Siena Heights was one of those teams that popped up out of nowhere and had the pop off potential to make a run in like a qualifier, an open, whatever we were doing back when they were relevant. And so I'm with you, TJ. I think this is an underrated team. I mean, obviously, I had them as my underdog roster, so I think my opinions on them are pretty clear, but that's why I put them as the top of our honorable mentions, because I think they are a team that should very much be at the forefront of this honorable mention category of teams like Conestoga. So you said they made a deep LCQ run, right, TJ? Conestoga?
No. That was I was talking about Drummondville. That was
okay.
That was not Conestoga.
I thought you mentioned them playing LCQ.
No, I had a typo that I instantly edited because I typed it wrong. I was doing my power rankings and I got the names confused. No, that was
Conestoga. That's a really crazy typo to make.
Conestoga did not play together in the LCQ. However, in my research, I did notice that that Poke actually had a very good run. And also I think I saw Cyber somewhere in the top 64 as well. What surprised me about Conestoga, and we can talk about this if we want to, I didn't see 80 play in the LCQ. I didn't see 80 on a team, or if he did, it wasn't a good run. So that surprised me a little bit. But also what I'll add about Conestoga while I'm talking about them is, like, this is a team that's always been like NECC Division 2 demon.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a team where we're like, okay, they're gonna make a team like a Shawnee State run for their money. They're not a team that's gonna make a potentially even like a Bruton Parker run for their money. So anyways, that's why they are not in my honorable mentions, for that reason.
Okay. I respect it.
You talk about WCTC. You have them real high, Bepic, compared to me and
it's TJ. It's got them top 32.
No, that's me. That's me.
Yeah, I want to hear you. Why you have them in your top 32?
I think everybody's knee-jerk reaction of Dimitri leaving is an overstatement. Don't get me wrong, Dimitri's the best player on that team this past year. But also, based on what I have seen, based on what I have heard, based on what I have seen with my own two eyes, I actually believe that Virus is going to be around that same level of production. And then I would go the extra mile to say that Ty is going to have a Dimitri level season. I am very confident in Ty's on-ball ability. I got to see it a little bit in the SEL summer event. Mm-hmm. And also I have not a bias, but I have an insider trading type of scenario because me and Ty play Battlefield together. So I've gotten a behind the scenes, and we've been talking a lot in DMs. I've gotten a behind the scenes about that team. So I feel very confident in WCTC, and I don't think that them being above, the only school as of today, like I could hear, for example, like, okay, what about a Matt Aloysius with Sammy? That could be a close series. Or what about maybe a LCU White? That could be a close series. But I think WCTC, as of today, again, preseason rankings, I like them in my top 32. And maybe that's personal preference, but a lot of those teams could go game 5, game 7.
All right.
I can't hit against WCTC. I mean, they lost Geo, stayed relevant with Dimitri. Lose Dimitri for a semester. I trust Ty and Neeks to stay relevant with Virus. I just think there are other teams right now that are more deserving of a top 32 spots than WCTC. But despite this being a non-ordered honorable mention section, WCTC I think are pretty close to my top 32. Like just for the record. So I'm with you, TJ. They're just a few spots lower on my list.
That's fair. And I'm willing to hear that out. Again, I could see, because again, for those of you who've been joining the stream like recently, the honorable mentions are not ranked.
Yeah.
So like I could see teams like a Olivet, like an LCU, like a Mount Aloysius, if Sammy can get to a rank B plus level consistently, or more consistently, I should add, because he already is a rank B level player, I'm pretty sure. And also, like, I caught a lot of flack on York. And I'm willing to take that flack because again, it's going to be the same story of York last year. Now, are they better this year? I think absolutely. It's not going to be close, but it also makes me feel a little bit better seeing that y'all have York down towards the bottom of your top 32 as well. I think that's a very fair place for them. Is right inside or right around the top 30. I think that's fair.
I have a team to bring up that wasn't on our radar before. But I saw this we're doing power rankings with Sheep for those that wouldn't know because you're not in those conversations, but maybe coming out soon. But we're doing power rankings, and the list that was not put together by us includes South Florida, which is Yagami, Fisher, and Durkee. I didn't have them on my radar, but Fisher is in chat, and I think it is worth discussing since we're a podcast that covers those sorts of rosters. I mean, how good? I've got no idea what Fisher looks like. I haven't watched him since he was playing with Fries and Luigi at Florida State. But
it's been a while since those days.
Yeah, it's been a minute. But Yagami, I know, is a really, really good player. We watched them at PCL. I guess that was a year and change ago now, TJ, when they were playing on LAN and keeping pace with Akron Gold. Durkee, what do we know about Durkee? Any comms there?
I am pretty sure Durkee and Fisher should be similar levels of player, if my memory serves. As in, like, I think both of them should be mid to high rank A, if I remember correctly.
So is this USF roster like a top 32 contender?
Somebody needs to correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but if I'm right about Durkee, which I thought I was, then yes, they are absolutely in contention. Now, unless I'm wrong, if Durkee is a player that I'm getting confused with somebody else, then I'll take it back. But I think that even with Yagami and Fisher, they are contenders. Again, this is like a NECC Division II East Demon. Like that's the slogan for a team like that. Okay, Solus is like low two, or not, or Solus said Durkee's like low 2K. If that's the case, or if he is rank A pushing like I thought, then I absolutely even if Dorky's, or not Dorky, sorry, even if Durkee's B,
new nickname dropped.
My bad.
Reddit
new slander,
bro. Even if Durkee, I was reading the chat, bro. I was reading the chat. That's on me. Marsha just screwed me. Marsha just absolutely screwed me. No, if Durkee is rank B, I think this roster could still be argued to contend in the top 40. And to be contending with some of those rosters up top. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I had no idea that this roster was a thing. Y'all got to advertise your rosters more. What's going on?
We need a database, man. We need an ESPN of Collegiate Rocket League because my spreadsheet is decent, but it's not cutting it. There are rosters out there that we probably haven't even heard of that are going to be popping up, like Drummondville. I just now heard of. I think that was Sunday when chat was pointing it out. So we need more people on the beat. So this is why we love Twitch chat and everyone that interacts with the podcast, keeping us informed. So thank you all very much for that. But any more topics on Power Ranking, any more teams to discuss here with our lists? I think this was a pretty civil first Power Rankings episode. I think we're doing well.
I would even go the extra mile to say that of all the preseason power rankings, I think that we did a pretty good job. Like, yeah. I really don't think that we and you know, and obviously like me and Bepic have already gotten our fair share of Twitch and Twitter backlash. Like this is, and I said this on Twitter already, like your teammates, they don't have a Wikipedia page. They don't have a social media. They don't post. Your school doesn't even follow them. They don't even follow their school. Like, it's impossible to track some of these guys. Yeah. It is absolutely miserable. And like the fact that we're even like the fact that I sat down to the top 48 and I got to a point where I was like, man, like there's all these rosters where they're missing players or they're unknown. Like, you know, y'all got to give us a little bit, just a tiny bit of grace.
Can I get some schools to tweet about anything?
Yes,
I want a crumb of information.
No announcements. And again, these players are not following their schools on Twitter. Like I found 3 different player social media pages out of some of the players that were marked red on my list, and they just don't follow their school like at all. And it goes vice versa. So I can't verify if that's the right player. So yeah, please, for the love of God, like CRL's coming up. Like I would love some roster announcements. It's about that time. 'Tis the season.
I will say it is a little early. Like I know some school, like I don't think North Texas has our media day until next month, middle of next month. Of all of our new players that are coming in, like all our freshmen. So I get it. Some schools just can't. But like, even if you can't, like, if you're not getting out, take a picture of your player, throw him a jersey, tell him to take a selfie, bang, just tweet something.
I love any extra media we get in the CRL scene. Like, that's how we're going to grow. That's how more sponsors come in, more interactions, more people bought in. That's simple, like esports economics right there. So yeah, interact with the schools, interact with the media platforms, support. I mean, the Champ League Open brought in 55 teams, which I think is pretty good for a preseason tournament that was announced like a week and a half ago, I think, maybe.
Agreed.
That. So we're doing okay right now, but can always be better. But there are a lot of leagues to interact with, platforms to interact with. We're gonna run through the Alphabet Soups information right quick because we skipped this last week, and this is going to be a quick segment because I don't want to stay here for 2 hours again. But real fast, for those that are keeping tabs at home, NECC, NACE, and all that do start up in September. Oh, sorry, NECC starts up in September. NACE starts up basically when CRL is ending, which is hilarious.
October, yeah.
But real quick, NECC starting up. Look, September registration ends middle of September. So actually, NECC starts late September, which shows you just how early we are beginning CRL. So NECC's on Wednesdays for everyone that's going to be watching on September 30th. Good Lord, that's actually a month and a half from now. So maybe we don't even need to be talking about this. But I mean, NACE, oh God, that's ugly. I'm going back to this. NACE starts middle of October. PCL and ECAC are pretty much the same. So honestly, doing this quick segment, I know it was in the run of show, but like all it's done is made me realize just how early CRL actually is and how much time we have with just CRL and LAN qualifiers that TJ is running, who's running every single one of them, it seems. But last thing on the Alphabet Soups, PEC did add West Virginia. So PEC is looking very stacked this semester, I gotta say. Do you have any comments on that? Any predictions as to who's going to win PEC with how good the top looks right now?
I would be disappointed based on like today because West Virginia's been a little weird. Mm-hmm. I would like to see Baylor on top.
Okay, I repeat for Baylor.
That. I'd be okay with that. That's my prediction. I'll roll with that.
Iceborg, you got a prediction?
I have no prediction.
That's all right.
That's one of the leagues that I don't look at as much. I'm much more of a NACE looker.
Yeah.
Especially
we can help. Hold on. Syracuse, Boise State, Baylor, West Virginia.
Michigan State as well. Got to toss them in there.
They're
not a contender, but you got to toss them in there. Like those are the big five of the PEC.
That's fair. That's fair.
Give me West Virginia, honorable mention, Baylor.
That's fair. That's a good take.
No, I like it.
I care about the self-select conferences in NACE is I love that feature that they're doing.
I do like NACE doing that.
From self-select, we got a conference with South Florida, Michigan State, Kennesaw State, George Mason, Wichita State, Cleveland State, and UNT right now.
And all of their directors were at the NACE conference and did a meeting on that was so cool. Big ups to them.
There's a bunch of other schools in there. Radford too. There's a bunch of the self-select is the best thing possible because if we can get more regional conferences in NACE, the path to D1 type conferences is my dream. So I need more of that.
That's always been my vision for the CRL ecosystem is the regional conferences that aren't necessarily the traditional conferences of traditional collegiate athletics, but more esports oriented conferences. Because, I think the traditional sports model works, but esports is very different from football. So I love what NACE is doing with the conferences. I love like what the SCL and the NEL kind of are right now too with our sizes of regional leagues leagues that are kind of a conference. I mean, you got your big dogs, ETSU, Bruton Parker, Cumberland, Daytona State at the SCL right now that are teams that are competing on a national scale, but at the same time have their regional competition, regional land to then build into the national stuff. Like that's where Daytona State broke out last semester. So I'm a huge fan.
From self-select, I don't know what is the reason that any West schools are not banding together to make a conference together, so they can. I don't see why they don't try to do that in NACE.
There is
a podcast episode in itself.
Oh well, yeah. There is a West Coast league.
Reasons, I know there's West Coast leagues. I'm just like, hey, why don't you try to do that? Like, I know it's already iffy by itself, Fuge. I'm just saying, if you have issues, if you're having issues, band together and make your own conference, and then if you and do that within leagues that are on their own. So like you're good enough, you can play these schools, but sometimes you'll complain about ping disadvantage up the wazoo, even if it's central. I'm just saying, like.
I will also add to that conversation because Boone is saying the truth right now. The Southeastern D1s and the Western D1s are in the same world right now. You've got programs like Oregon. Utah does not count in this conversation. They're a rare exception. You've got schools like Oregon and UCLA who have good foundations and support for esports, but they don't have enough funding or ability to go to the next level, and in my opinion really join a NACE or pay for a NACE and get the benefits out of it. I think that Oregon and UCLA are both schools where like they're gonna have to wait until the rest of the region starts to catch up. I think the issue is quantity, it's not quality in terms of Western leagues, teams, programs. They need more teams, in my opinion. And that's what I'm saying, Boone. They're clubs. It's just like UGA, South Carolina, Florida, right? Like it's that's exactly what I'm saying. It's because they're clubs. So
it's all because Cumberland has 3 teams. The greedy of the greedy program, greedy.
It does say a lot.
Claypool in the Bible.
I think it does say a lot that. Of all the Alphabet Soups leagues, I think CCS has done the most for Western Rocket League than any of the other conferences. Like that's where Oregon and Colorado and San Diego State 2 years ago were actually winning bigger games and making a name for themselves. And when CCS is doing the heavy lifting for West Rocket League, I think that says a lot.
That says everything. That says everything.
Hey, shout out Sierra West though. Good times. Shout out all the GC3s who got tags. Really happy. really good. So actually, GC3 didn't even exist. Shout out the Champ 3s who got tags. Really happy for them. So anyways, they'll get there. It's the same thing with the big D1s in the East. Like,
Boone, has he really? I'm so sorry.
All right. Well, I think this is a good place to end it. We've done enough CRL West slander. We got Dorky slander in there as well. But tomorrow I gotta plug my show matches because we've got really good teams playing on my stream to preview before CRL happens this Sunday. Wichita State's playing Syracuse. Indiana Tech B is playing Cumberland B, which is a battle of, I think, the 2 best B teams in CRL right now. And then to cap it off, Shawnee State's playing Michigan State, I assume with Muffino. I've not confirmed the starting lineup on that, though. But that's on my stream tomorrow. And we got your LAN quals, TJ. You want to plug those before we sign off?
I would be so honored to. All right, the 2 biggest LANs happening this year, the Great Lakes Gaming Convention. You're playing a LAN at a baseball field, and that first qualifier is happening this Thursday, August 20th. Registration closes. That would be on Wednesday night. So that is tomorrow night. And if you need the links, I'm going to throw them in chat right now. Yes, I am seating. Yes, I am watch partying. And yes, we're gonna have a wonderful time. I'll be the active head TO as well, and then I'm doing it all over again on the 22nd for qualifier 2. That is this Saturday. So Great Lakes will have all 16 teams confirmed by Saturday, and then flip on over to $50,000 on the line. This is the Collegiate Esports Showdown as a part of the Future Play event. Garden State Esports has enlisted me, and we are going through basically collegiate war, bringing an event this big to the scene. Like this right here is like huge implications for what I believe is going to be the culture of investment in our scene. So big ups to Garden State Esports and the entire Future Play crew. Now that event, those qualifiers are coming up very soon as well, and it is Swiss stage. The Great Lakes competition is double elimination. This event is Swiss stage, and it will be August 29th, and it will be 3 rounds in a row, 7, 8, and 9 p.m. Eastern. And then Swiss stage day 2 is going to happen on September 5th. That is back-to-back Saturdays, and that'll be happening at the end of this month and then the first Saturday of September. So that is Great Lakes Gaming Convention in Michigan at a baseball stadium. Shout out to the Great Lakes Loons. And then that is the Future Play Collegiate Esports Showdown. That event will be qualifying at the end of the month and into September. And then we'll see you all in Illinois with travel stipends for $50,000 with travel stipends. We will see you all hopefully there. Now, for those of you asking for me to leak the split, I don't know the split. I'm being so for real. I'm being 100% real. I don't know the split of teams yet. All I know is that out of the teams who have registered thus far, it is all 4-year schools. So good luck in your pool. That's all I can say. I don't know the rest.
I mean, that has to be the biggest, most stacked qualifier we've ever seen. It better be. 50K for a LAN, like with big sponsors.
For the 50K LAN, there's only 43 teams, and I think it's 43 teams for what, 24 spots right now?
Yes, which, which don't get me wrong, like in classic collegiate fashion, right? Like we will start to climb within the next week. Yeah. I'm not, like surely like my dream is to get to like 75 to 100 teams. That would be the goal. I think with CRL being worth over $60,000, I think $50,000 with travel stipends and 24 spots is absolutely fair. I will say this because this is important to note for the podcast. This event does not allow Canadian schools to play. And that was a decision that was made like 7 tiers above our heads. So because of that, we're going to miss out on a lot of major contenders, especially in the 2-year category, or else St. Clair would have had a free path there. So anyways, hopefully we will have more information on the split. Like obviously in a perfect world, if it's only 4-year schools and we have 24 teams, then that means I get to seed and maybe we move to double elim, or maybe we change it. I don't know. I have no idea. Those decisions will be made very soon. And we will we'll hopefully have updates soon. So make sure you join the Discord whenever you go to register for that event. Make sure you're in there because any announcements will go there first before they go on social media. That's all I got. That's my plug.
Sweet. Iceborg, you want to plug anything before we leave? It's plug-in time.
Yeah, I'll plug in it. Sheep Collegiate, follow on the Twitter. Our first power rankings of a whole committee of people that are giving their power rankings coming out later this week. It's hopefully it is just the beginning of Sheep Collegiate and our one-stop shop of everything Collegiate Rocket League, not just CRL, talking about over 7 different leagues around the country that are happening. It's a good start ramping up as we get deeper into the semester, because right now it's just CRL, but then we got everything NACE, NECC. I want to make sure I'm talking about everyone before I spit incorrect information. Let's see here. Where's my folder of 8 different Discords that I'm in? Play versus NECC, NEL and SEL, ECAC, anything. It's only going to get more exciting, and hopefully we can even start talking about high school esports in the future, because the high school to college connection is something that we care about a lot. So it's only going to get better, and I'm really excited for this semester. So obviously, at Sheep Collegiate on Twitter.
Yeah, follow them.
Go ham.
Follow Collegiate Exclusive as well. Follow the 3 of us on Twitter too. I think that's all we got. I will see you all tomorrow on my stream. We got a lot of CRL to cover this week. So this podcast, I'm sure, will be back. We'll let you know once we schedule the next episode. But as always, thank you so much for watching the pod. Make sure you follow us on Spotify. And if you watch on YouTube as well, it's on my personal channel, Mr. Bepic. So if you didn't catch us live for the entire time, watch us on Spotify or YouTube tomorrow. Maybe Apple Podcasts one day. But that's a story for another time. Everyone have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you later.